In these life-serving podcasts, Bhashkar Perinchery answers questions from everyone seeking pragmatic and effective solutions regarding emotional and energetic challenges, holistic health, and the inner journey.
If any questions are there, we start with it. Any questions from those who are here or those who are participating from elsewhere? If anything is there which is occupying you, you can bring it up.
Do you have any question? Questions can be asked over Spotify or can be sent as voice message over the podcast webpage.
It's a sharing that I want to do. Lately, since 3-4 weeks, when I see a film, and I see the film almost every evening, I realize that in Deutsch fühle ich mich wie am Wasser gebaut, the tears coming. I'm much more touched than before. Of course, I can also observe it, and I feel grateful that this is happening to me. It looked like I sit on a whole lake of tears, and now it's coming up.
It's very valuable to realize that we are not trying to suppress what is there and trying to transcend as if we don't have any of these feelings. What we are doing is accepting life, accepting and allowing all what is there, and at the same time also understand to watch and participate in the life process without blindly getting lost in the identification. So, as a part of your being alive, your sensibility is getting deeper, and you are able to perceive and feel more for the others, for what life is, which is how it should be. So, as a part of it, when sometimes things touch oneself and tears come, who are you to interfere with it? And who are you to judge? Because then you can see that this is like that. The world is a transitory process. Everything is an ongoing flux. But the world is so fascinating. The world is so beautiful. The world is such a wonder. Because it is all like that, on one side, we have to remember it so that we don't try to cling. And that is where we need to keep the remembrance that the beauty of the world is also its fragility. It is like a flower. When you have a real flower, it may be there only for a few days, but it is alive. It's fragile, especially when you compare it with a plastic flower. The plastic flower looks almost like a real flower nowadays, but still, you see something is missing. And that is the fragility, that is the aliveness, that is where life is breathing in and breathing out in a certain way. And the more you become aware of it, the more you become aware also of the fragility of it, then you recognize that how valuable, how beautiful, and how precious. So it is very significant that this awareness is deepening, and it is like in the case of Bokoju, one of the Zen master. One day it was happening that his master was leaving the body. And Bokoju was very deeply touched and he was crying and weeping. So his disciples asked him, normally you are saying that the soul is eternal and that death is a only peripheral thing, but you are crying now, what is happening? He said it is true, the soul is eternal, the essential is eternal, but this body, which I am familiar with, which this body is familiar with, is part of the change, and there is tears happening. Who am I to interfere? This is not easily understood because normally people think in terms of either you are rising above everything and have everything under control, and that is the mental idea of transcendence. But the idea of transcendence in the deeper experience and in traditions where they are not suppressing and making a separation between this world and the other world, but see that it is one deep reality, one deeply interconnected, non-dualistic reality. There you can see that there's a different way of approaching it all. The only thing what is reminded is be in the world, but don't let the world overtake you. Be with the marketplace, don't let the marketplace enter into your heart. So this is the thing. So when you are in certain situations touched, where you are encountering something of life and the fragility of life, the beauty of life, the magnificence of life, and see at the same time how you cannot hold to anything, how fragile and transitory everything is. Then on one side you are grateful, but also the human part is that there is sadness coming. Everything is how it is.
No, it also feels good that tears are coming.
If you feel good or if you feel bad, it is simply a fact. Who is judging and saying it feels good? Only if you don't want to get trapped, look at the one who is judging and says, it feels good.
Maybe due to the situation that I live more or less in a safe world since I'm back from India, Sri Lanka. Sometimes my life was that fast that I could not even heal the wounds. The next challenge was coming, and so now this is happening.
This is what it means when one really takes the initiative to face the reality, take time for confronting things the way it is, and to live consciously vulnerable, because that makes a big difference. Otherwise, just to say that, okay, I'm open to life, but somewhere in a kind of attitude, in a certain kind of Haltung, how you say it in German, then you are not really open. You are open only when you don't have any fixed attitude. You have orientations, you have your understanding, but you are not having a fixed way of reacting to anything. Because the more you understand, the more clearly you realize each moment is new. Each situation is different. So you have to face the now. Be awake to the moment. And that is only possible when you are not holding to any attitude, when you are not trying to control and save and manage. So this is the conscious vulnerability where you are not trapped in the egocentric identifications, and that there is a capacity to see and feel that what really is. So that is very valuable when one can allow that.
A lot more questions to be answered.
Right after this.
You are listening to the Life Surfing Podcast on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Life Surfing Podcast. We continue with some more questions.
Any other question or anything else in anyone who is participating from here or participating from elsewhere? If anything is there, you can bring it up. Still. If nothing else is there, I just want to bring the attention to some small aspect which is subtle and decisive. And it is so easily overlooked. That is, we normally identify with our reactions and our life energy gets pulled into it. But what we forget is to remember to look at these reactions, feel what is behind it. Feel the undercurrent process, so that you are not just only trying to cover up the feeling, you are not suppressing it, and also not getting in a subtle way caught in it. But remember to be a non-interfering, non-clinging observer of all what is behind these reactions. It may be just a feeling of disappointment, hurtness, some feeling of sadness, some frustration, some feeling of resignation, some tension, some disinterest. What is going on? Don't only just satisfy by saying, oh, I am disinterested and settle in that, or I am sad and settle in that feeling. Look at all that what is undercurrently behind it taking place in you. That is how you allow the life energy to get clear and free from the entanglement in these patterns of reaction. Otherwise, becoming aware is not then understood rightly when you are only just labeling things and leaving it like that. Noticing that there is sadness, there is anger, there is bitterness, there is disappointment, there is frustration. That's one part of the turning the attention to that, what is going on. But to see what is behind this anger, behind this irritation, behind this disappointment, the whole expectations, the whole fears, the whole desires, the whole clinging, the whole pride, the whole prejudice. Then you will be surprised to see that when you are seeing everything what is there without taking sides, without trying to change anything, without trying to interfere with anything, a moment comes where you see your life energy is not trapped in any of these patterns. And that is what is very important for you to experientially understand this. Otherwise you go around, you know so much, but you just stay on the periphery and things are going on undercurrently and you don't feel clear and free. So you are just carrying the burdens further on and wondering why things are going on like that. Only when you realize that it is a way to understand how our life energy is getting pulled into different reactions, how it is manifesting, and what is our part. That is where it will become clear to you that our part is just to not identify with any of that what is happening and observe deeply all the undercurrent factors, all the subtle clinging, calculations, longings, desires. And as it becomes really transparent to you, and you are not trying to interfere, you are not trying to change anything, then the moment comes where you realize that this is the clue, this is the direction you have to go deeper into. When you see that, yes, in the interaction process of the dualistic life, different things come up, different things get touched, but you are not trying to settle with a fixed idea of who you are and what you are. Because in reality, everything is going on, changing every moment. So you are opening yourself to connect to your reality, to be authentic in a deeper sense. And this conscious movement towards authenticity, where you perceive life the way it is, becomes your door to freedom, door to clarity, door to the joy. Because when there's nobody clinging to anything, and you are without being anybody in particular in this fixed way, not caught in any illusions, then you experience your true nature. There you find, for no reason, there is joy. It's not because you have achieved something. It's not because there is some hope for getting something. You are just yourself. That is why it is very important to continue to question and inquire deeply into the nature of the reality. And that is where we have a chance as a human being. And this is what we need to recognize, because this chance as a human being is not recognized by most people. Many people are going on living as if they are here and they just go on following their conditionings blindly. They don't realize that as a human being, we have a responsibility. It is a difference between the animals or all other living beings on this planet and the human being. The human being has a certain work to do. The human being has to take the initiative to go beyond the conditioned idea of oneself, so that one experiences who we really are. And that is why human life is so, so precious. And the interesting thing is, the deeper you go and become familiar with that what you are, you realize that what is indicated with the expression of non-duality, that what is said when it is said, meant that when it's indicated that everything is arising from the same source. Whether it is the statement in the Advaitic teaching that there is no duality, that behind the duality is the non-duality which is the basis of our reality. Or just look, when Jesus says to his people who are close to him, "My Father, the Holy Spirit and me are one," is again indicating the non-dualistic basis of reality. To see it more directly in the prayer in the Islam, it starts with the statement, "La ilaha illallah." When people would realize what they are praying and see that they need to experientially understand it, then there won't be any fights. Because La ilaha illallah means there's nothing other than Allah. Whether you call it Allah, God, or the Spirit, or essence, or the mystery, or the wondrous basis, or the source, it's all names to indicate that what cannot be reduced to words. That is why when you become aware of the limitation of the words, then you will use the words very wakefully. Otherwise, one uses the words and believes that the words are, this. It's like when you hear many times the word God, and then one imagines, yes, I know what God is. No, it's a word indicating something which cannot be reduced to words. It cannot be reduced into a conceptual, logical, fixed reality. And so is with all what is deeper. Also, we use the word love in so many ways. But how many people really question and consider, what is my understanding of love? The more you go into the experiential way of connecting to reality, the more you become capable to understand and see the limitation of the words. Through the words, you cannot share any deeper experiences. You can only indicate ways to come to it. The words are relevant in the game of the world. When you say this is a lamp, there's a candle, this is a microphone, this is a plant. So in practical functional area, words are perfect. So we need words in the game of the world. But we should not forget that words are not able to carry and share with you the reality behind it. That is why I so often quote Lao Tse, because he refused to write the book, and when he was compelled to write the Tao Te King, as the story goes, he started the book with the statement that truth cannot be said and that what is said is a lie. And with that reminder, he indicates many valuable things in that book. It's one of the most significant books for humanity. But one needs to remember this. You can see it in simple experiences. You eat a certain food. Can you share the taste and the experience of the food which you had with anybody without the other also experiencing it directly, tasting it directly? You can say it is sweet, or it is sweet and sour, or it is like this, it is like that. You may try to explain it so that you can help the other to relate his or her own experiences and make an idea of it. But that idea of it is not the reality. So it is with the experiencing of the deeper root of our reality, the source of our reality, the creative wonder which is behind the manifestation of the life. And we need to approach it with great awareness. Otherwise, we have the tendency to put words and label them and believe that I know it. That is part of the egocentric fixation. So when you are trying not to fix anything into a word and concept and label, but are looking, are facing, and looking all what is undercurrently going on in you, then you approach the reality the right way. Then it becomes your experiential understanding, and from that basis, everything else gets seen and understood in the right way. Nobody needs to explain you anything. It is your direct understanding. It is not a belief. It is not a question of argument and agreeing and disagreeing with anybody. It's not some philosophical explanation which you put in so many words and turn around. It's simply the direct experiential understanding. It is important that that is the orientation. But you also should know that in the deeper teachings and in the traditions, it is reminded that even your experiential understanding, don't start taking it for granted because it seems to you as deep and essential. Wait. See what others who have gone through it are indicating to you, what way they are responding to your indication of this experience. So it is said, even if you experience the deeper things, look in connection with 3 other people who have gone through this, what way they are supporting that experience, understanding it, recognizing that it was the right experience. Otherwise, people make some experiences and they believe, now I have it. And then they start behaving in a certain way because the ego comes from the subtle background level and want to claim it. So those who have connection to the inner friend, they get questioned in many ways. They get supported to question themselves so that the experience is authentic, that it's not a kind of made up thing which one is holding to and the ego is behind it. But there's no way to go around the direct experiential understanding. And this is what I wanted to bring into the attention, that when you are not letting yourself get settled in any shadow state, whether it is sadness, disappointment, bitterness, anger, resignation, helplessness, hopelessness. These are all human feelings, it comes up. But don't settle with that. Look what is undercurrently working in you. And let that transparency reveal to you that when you are not letting your life energy get trapped in these patterns of reaction, you experience yourself in a deeper and direct way. And there is freedom. There is light. There is joy. There arises gratitude. There arises compassion. Spontaneously there will be love and a deep concern and care for everybody, because you realize you are deeply connected to all, and that is the sense behind the indication that it's a non-dualistic reality which is our source, that the divinity is in you and that is your basis, that is your home. If any questions are there still in anyone before we take some time for just being, from those who are participating from here or for participating from elsewhere, we can still consider it. If anything is keeping you occupied and you have the feeling it will be valuable to consider it and clear it. So if nothing else is there, we sit the next half hour just with the remembrance to stay wakeful and alive to all what is, without identifying with anything, without trying to change anything, without trying to settle with anything. Simply with the remembrance to be wakeful and present with closed eyes.
The Life Surfing Podcast will be back next week. In the meantime, make sure that you're following us right here on Spotify.